Pagination is pretty simple. In the resource section, I provide a link to WordPress's Pagination Codex page. Typically, pagination tends to be difficult because you have to account for various scenarios. However, as you can see here, WordPress provides a few functions that we can use for pagination. These functions will work universally on various templates and different types of pages. This is great because now you don't have to do a lot of the work. WordPress will do the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is call these functions in the appropriate locations. Open the index template inside your editor. At the bottom of the template, you'll see the static pagination buttons. Right above the links, I'm going to place my code here. Call the function nextPostsLink. This function is pretty simple. It will check if there are older posts, and if there is, then it'll output a link to that page. There's an optional parameter which is the text to display. I'm going to use the text I had in the static pagination link. Next, we're going to use a function called previousPostsLink, which does the same thing as our previous function except it checks for newer posts. I'll also pass in the same text in its static version. I'm going to comment out the static version of the pagination links. We'll be needing them later, so no need to get rid of them. Alright, let's refresh the page and test out the pagination links. The links should be appearing and working. However, there is a problem. They don't have the nice styling. Unfortunately, these can't be changed through the function. Instead, we have to use something called filters to accomplish this. We haven't gotten that far, so for now, we're going to leave things as is. In a future lecture, we'll be fixing these pagination links to look more like the static template after we've discussed filters. Now that everything is working perfectly, let's take a look at our template. When we started, we had a few hundred lines of code. With the help of WordPress, it's been reduced heavily to less than 100 lines of code. We worried very little about the code. It's extremely easy to integrate your template into a WordPress theme. We haven't had to write one single database query or perform many checks. This is the power of WordPress. It is this simple. This concludes this section. We started out with a static HTML template and converted it into a functioning WordPress theme. This theme is not even close to complete, but look at how far we got in such a short amount of time. I'm going to recap over some of the things we've learned so far. One of the most important steps we took was loading the style sheets and scripts. We did this by registering and enqueuing them. A lot of beginners usually want to avoid this step and just manually link them in the head tags. However, this is considered bad practice. You end up missing out on a lot of the features WordPress provides. There are plugins out there that provide compression, minification, and concatenation. All these concepts speed up your site significantly. These features are only available if you register and enqueue your files. So it's always important that you use the proper hooks and functions for loading your files. Never manually place them in the head tags. The next thing we did was start displaying the menus. There are two ways to go about this. You can manually create your own menu system. This is a completely acceptable solution, but it is not a common one. WordPress provides this feature along with others for you. All you have to do is register a menu and then display it in your template. WordPress takes care of managing and processing the data for you. After that, we began splitting up the template into various sections. This makes our code more readable and easier to manage. We also took care of creating the form and began displaying the posts. The steps we took were pretty simple. I want to stress that even though all this was simple, you shouldn't take this process lightly. Most developers will try and stuff all their code in as little files as possible. While this does speed things up, it can make things harder to scale. You should be very conscious about how you organize your files and what you put in them. You'll repeatedly see me try and separate our code throughout this course. In the next section, we're going to start working on other templates. Templates give you the opportunity to display content in various styles. You'll see what that looks like in the next few lectures.